All right, let's get to what you've all been hearing about, the Apple Vision Pro. So this is Apple's new headset that everyone thought was going to be this crazy VR headset. It's actually an augmented reality headset, and what does that mean? Basically, Apple's going to be blending the digital world with the real world using all kinds of crazy technology. Now, how realistic does it look? I don't know. Okay, you guys, so as you can see, it's later now. I just got back from my demo. I got to try the Vision Pro. All the stuff I shot earlier, we gotta toss that because everything's different now for me. Okay, so I guess we start from the top, right? What is this thing? This is Apple's AR headset. Basically, this is going to take the software that we are used to, iMessage, Photos app, videos, Safari, all the stuff we're used to seeing on our phones, our Macs. They're basically gonna show up as windows in the real world. So basically think of it like those holograms that pop up that you see in all the futuristic movies. You can definitely think of like Tony Stark and Iron Man using Jarvis and with all the screens that go around. That is actually going to be real life. And I watched the presentation and I'm gonna be honest, I was skeptical. I've seen VR headsets, like plenty of them, where, you know, the features are nice, they're cool, they're not quite as good as any of the presentations actually show. But guys, after trying it myself, it is what we saw in the keynote. They're not just renders, it actually looks and feels like that once you've got this thing on. And with this thing, it's housed in an aluminum body, and there's a lot of tech crammed into it. We've got 12 cameras, 5 sensors, 6 microphones. There's also a digital crown up front that allows you to go to your home screen or change how immersive certain content is. There's also this kind of like display in the front of the headset that allows users to see your eyes, at least the way the camera's on the inside see your eyes. So that way they can kind of interact with you while you're wearing it. It doesn't feel super weird. I've talked to someone with a VR headset on before, and it's like, you don't know where they're looking. They're not really looking at you, but with this, you'll kind of be able to tell where their eyes are looking. And if they're looking at content, you can see if, you know, their vision is blurred, but if they focus on you or something, then you can see their eyes. So this whole operating system and platform is going to be on what Apple's calling Vision OS. So all the apps that you have open and everything, Vision OS platform. And of course, this thing is packing Apple Silicon. There's an M2 processor in here, the same things we're seeing in MacBooks. So you know that it's going to be a pretty fluid experience. But not only that, it also has Apple's new R1 chip. With that R1 chip, it helps with the image processing. So those cameras are taking in the real world, but they've got to show that to you really fast so that it doesn't feel like you're watching a video of the real world. It's fast enough to feel like you're actually there. What's really cool that they mentioned about the hardware also is that if you happen to wear glasses, there are gonna be different lenses that you can put in to accommodate your vision. So you're not gonna be wearing this with glasses, but you can put in these corrective lenses. You should still be able to see while you're using it if you wear glasses. Now you might be wondering, battery, right? Well, this thing has like this magnetic clasp that has this cable that runs down to what looks like a portable charger. You get 2 hours of battery life out of this thing, which is really not a lot. There are movies that are longer than that, so it's a really short battery life, but I did see a USB-C port right on top, so that gives you potential to use another portable charger. Now, it would be really shocking, and I'm not expecting this to be the case, it'd be really shocking to be able to put in like an SSD to that USB-C port. So, like a storage? It's a computer. This is an actual computer on your head.
Wait, so does it come with any internal storage?
It has to, because if you can have applications on it and stuff, you can download apps. There has to be some kind of internal storage.
Okay.
I don't know how much storage though. If I can get word back in time before this video is uploaded, I'll say it somewhere, or maybe I'll pin a comment down below. Now, if you're wondering about security for a device like this, of course, Apple's thought of something, and they call it Optic ID. Now, with Optic ID, it's a biometric scan of your actual eyeballs, so that is going to be what unlocks it. Now, of course, everything is encrypted. That information is all going to stay on the device. But if you're wondering about how you get in, you just throw it on, it'll scan your eyes, boom, you're right in. But I just want to talk about how it feels to actually use it. Now, this is an AR headset that you can throw on. And there's a lot of cool aspects to it. So you throw it on your head. So there's a 3D knitted headband that goes on the back of your head. That's removable, comes in different sizes. You can swap it out for what works for you. I saw one in person that said like M. This big old head of mine is probably gonna need an L, but we're not gonna talk about that too much. Actually, there was this other band that goes on top of your head, which I didn't see in the keynote, but it was there during the demo. So there's even more flexibility there in terms of like getting a nice fit. So there's a digital crown up top, similar to what we've seen on Apple Watches or even the AirPods Max. You got that digital crown, it's right there. You can tap it one time to get like your home screen of apps, and navigating it is really simple. So you can do the whole Tony Stark Jarvis thing where you're pulling applications around. You can do all these grand gestures, but you don't really need to. Honestly, you can kind of sit back, you can use your 2 fingers, move things around. It uses eye tracking to basically work as a cursor. So whatever you want to highlight, whatever you want to interact with, you just look at it and then you do a pinch as a click. So basically you pinch to click, and you can hold it if you want to swipe up or if you want to swipe down, go left or right, move things around. It's really simple. And I only got about 30 minutes with it, and I very quickly got acclimated. This thing doesn't have a huge learning curve at all. And I even heard that Apple's considering the accessibility side of things. So if you happen to have like a really shaky hand, or for whatever reason, you don't really have the ability to use your hands for this, you'll be able to stare at a section and that'll kind of work as your click. I heard that's gonna be available. So if you can't really use your hands well, there's still gonna be options for you. We're controlling this thing with our eyes. That's wild. And it's interesting because this thing has 12 cameras, like I mentioned, 5 sensors, and I think 6 microphones. And it uses all of those things to create your experience. So when you're moving those applications around, it factors in like lighting and all that kind of stuff to give it depth, and even the shadows that it creates in your space. Now, I was able to even watch content on here, and I gotta say, the content looked really good. Like, I saw photos and I was able to zoom in on content and it looked so sharp. And that's not what I expected from a headset. So what we're dealing with here are 23 million pixels across your 2 lenses. And that's like having a 4K screen on each lens. More than a 4K screen on each lens. Very wild stuff. And with all of these cameras, you know 3D is gonna be involved. So you can capture content in 3D and play it back in 3D as well. And it was actually the 3D experience was impressive. Now, it didn't look super high res, it's 3D. 3D is always a little weird, but it still looked really good. So if you wanna feel immersed in some like photos, maybe for like a special occasion, I think they showed at a birthday party or something. If you got the headset on, you can take a picture of that. I don't know if I want to do that at a birthday party. I don't know the dynamic for that. You know, like there's this nice, really special event, and you want to take a picture and like really capture that moment in 3D. You gotta bust out the headset. I don't know if I want to do all that, but there's really some value there in being able to feel like you're actually there, like you're a part of it. Live photos kind of changed the game when it came to like reliving moments through photos. And I feel like this could too, but it's just like, when do you pull it out and do that? And that works for photos and videos. I saw photo demos and video demos, and they both look impressive. I saw so much so fast, Jay. It's wild. Jay, I had iMessage open and there were photos in the message. I grabbed the photo, opened it up on the side, enlarged it. It was wild. So I'm just gonna shoot off a couple of things that really caught my attention. Watching content in there, I knew that the ability to watch content existed on these headsets before. I've done it, I've seen Netflix and YouTube on like different VR headsets, and it's cool. It's possible to watch those and it's fine. But with this headset, I think I'd spend more time doing that than I would any other headset that I've tried before. It's actually a really good experience, and you can control how big that video is. So if you wanna make it really large, you can have a gigantic display in front of you. But if you want to do it in a cinema mode where it blacks out everything and makes it feel like it's in a theater, they've worked it out where it feels like you're in the theater, and it's a really good experience. Speaking of that, audio. I didn't expect the audio to be so crisp. And Apple's put a lot of thought into this, where they're not just trying to send audio into your ears, they factor in where you are, they deliver the sound in a way where it meshes with your real world. So it's not this closed off experience. And not to mention, the sound is spatial audio. The audio sounds surprisingly good. There's all this kind of immersive content that you can have at your disposal. So immersive content. So I tried out this one demo. There was this butterfly, came from the opposite wall, flew towards me. I put my finger out and it landed on it.
For real?
It landed right on my finger. So it factored in where my finger was, landed on it. And when I saw it coming my way, I was like, and they told me to put my finger out, I was like, oh, it's gonna come towards it. Let me try to trick it a little bit. I moved it. It followed my finger and landed on it. I even saw this, you saw the one with the dinosaurs that kind of popped out the screen?
Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah. That dinosaur, you can interact with it, you can pet it, it'll go towards you. So if you're over there were a bunch of times I was like this, dinosaur walked towards me. It would walk away, and then I would run over here, and then it would come and follow me. And why that's crazy is because usually in those situations, it would be like a demo where it's the same thing every time, it's not interactive.
Yeah.
The dinosaur would come out, be in the same spot every single time. No, this thing is tracking you, following you, and it's wild. The way it popped out of the wall too. Now, I didn't get to try any gaming. Gaming does look like it's going to be possible. They showed that you could use like a DualSense controller and play NBA 2K, so that could be cool. What else did they show? They showed sports having this crazy angle that you wouldn't be able to experience like at all.
In the video, yeah, they have the 3D, like almost like a render of the whole court.
But it's wild because it's even closer than you could possibly be during one of those games. I saw it on a basketball court, a soccer field. It looked like you were on the court with them. It's wild.
Where you were actually standing
Not in the middle of the court, but like right at the front of the court. If this is the basketball court, you're standing like right here, just watching everything. Everybody dunking in the hoop. It's wild. So one thing that's interesting is you can actually do FaceTime with this as well. And you might be wondering, how are you gonna do FaceTime? You gotta hold your phone out, you're gonna have the headset on, it doesn't really make sense. Well, this thing's basically going to allow you to enroll your face into the Vision OS so that you can have those FaceTime calls, and it's going to create what feels like a digital version of yourself. So I had a FaceTime call with someone who also had the Vision Pro on. Everything that their face was doing, it showed up well, which is wild considering it's living on your head like this. It looked like a digital but very realistic version of yourself. Now, what's also nice is that, man, there's a lot to talk about. There's too much. You can pair your Magic Keyboard as well as a Magic Trackpad. So if you want to use this thing like a full-blown computer, you're going to be able to do that. So if you want to type on iMessage, go ahead, type on iMessage. You can do all the things you would do with your normal computer. What's nice is that if you have your regular Mac with you as well, it works in tandem with the Vision Pro. So you can take the screen that's on your Mac, whether it's a desktop or a laptop, and throw it onto the Vision Pro. Why would you want to do something like that? Well, you still get all of the power of your Mac machine. So whether that's a crazy Mac Pro or some other device, you get all of that power and the applications on that Mac at your fingertips. So you can use like Final Cut Pro or Photoshop or any crazy app that you might want to that's only accessible on the Mac. Just throw it on your Vision Pro. I think that wraps up everything I got to experience. This is basically spatial computing, taking programs or applications, putting them all around you, watching really immersive content, watching like 3D movies, 3D content that you create yourself. All of this stuff, it's really fluid, it's fast. It looks just like what they put in the keynote, and I can't wait. Now the thing is, $3,500, $3,500, an extremely high price point, and most people aren't going to buy this, right? We can all agree that a lot of people won't be purchasing this because the price is just too high. It's not for the average person, but for the techies out there, the folks who are early adopters, the folks who gotta use the most cutting edge technology, this is that. Like, I haven't been this excited about a piece of tech in a long time, because this is a completely new product category for Apple, and we've never had computing like this that I've experienced so far. Is it gonna be worth it? Who knows, but the geek in me wants everything to do with it. I know everyone's gonna be like, Judd, you're so hype, you're not the average consumer. Technology's technology, man. This stuff is cool as heck. So I'm pumped, I'm excited. I think it's going to change a lot of things for us in the future, and I just can't wait. We're gonna see it become a thing early next year. That's when it drops. But hey, if they can improve upon what I got to see today, go ahead, take your time, Apple. I'm with it, because what I saw, it looked ready. But that about wraps it up for this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. The hype is real. The hype is real.